Hello everyone, this year we have been watching tokenization closely, and it is absolutely one of the biggest trends. We simply keep returning to it. Well, now, I understand that hearing about tokenization all the time can get a bit monotonous and repetitious, but I assure you that I understand. Well, but to be honest, this is undoubtedly one of the most important developments in the whole cryptocurrency space. We currently have nearly $34 billion. Just consider our location. For example, we only reached a peak of $15.6 billion at the beginning of this year. The industry we are observing is expanding at an absolutely unconscionable rate. Furthermore, it's something that almost everyone ought to be aware of. Additionally, we can observe what's happening with networks all around the space when we dissect some of these networks here. I take it that we're discussing some of the most potent platforms available. According to the platform rankings, Securitize is ranked first, and Ripple and Securitize already have a cooperation in place. Ripple and Securitize recently partnered, and Ripple is currently collaborating with Ondo. Quite crazy, isn't it? The majority of the names on this list are already associated with prominent figures in the industry that we have been watching for a very long time. Partnerships aren't the only thing involved. These networks' numbers are rapidly increasing. When considering the global market, a large portion of the $34 billion amount comes from private chains and platforms like Securitize. Securitize isn't actually a tradable public network, despite using a few public networks. For this reason, you will see roughly $21.22 billion under the Networks tab. What's crazy is that throughout the past month, both of those figures have significantly increased. The popularity of public blockchains is only increasing. The real action is occurring around Rillos, even if $21.22 billion is sitting on these networks. As you can see if you look at the 30-day transfer volume, we are currently looking at a 50% increase, or roughly $115 billion. Why is that important? Consider it similar to stablecoins. Although there are around $295 billion worth of stablecoins available, there are a staggering $3.7 trillion in monthly transfers. That is a significant disparity, because it demonstrates how much value and activity may move via these networks. Even though the overall amount locked in appears to be smaller, this is the overall view. Over the coming years, RWA tokenization, a real-world asset, could reach trillions of dollars. As I keep saying, since all of that value will eventually flow through public networks, tokenization has the potential to make people extremely wealthy. As everything scales up, the transfer volume will skyrocket, just like it does with stablecoins right now. The monthly transfer volume associated with public networks is expected to reach $16 trillion by 2030, but it might easily exceed $30 trillion, $50 trillion, or even $100 trillion. The reason for this is that these tokenized assets will be exchanged constantly, day and night, all year long. Indeed, the new financial system that is developing in front of our eyes is what people mean when they talk about the Internet of Value. Well, Ripple has been discussing it for years. The Internet of Value was originally mentioned in 2017, and it is now truly coming together. Well, in April 2024, the Finternet, basically another term for the Internet of Value, was launched by the BIS, the central bank of central banks. The idea is barely a year and a half old, but it is exactly in line with what Ripple and others have been working on. With an emphasis on tokenization and connecting various ledgers to enable faster and more effective movement of funds and assets through digital networks, the BIS dubbed it the financial system of the future. Furthermore, Ripple is actively interested in it rather than only discussing it. They placed markets, currencies, bonds, and banking on the 8th. The whole financial scene is changing. Discover how we are enabling it with solutions for payments, custody, stablecoins, and more. Blockchain is a potent engine that opens up groundbreaking prospects for multinational corporations. Therefore, it's no longer just discussion, it's occurring. Why is all of this occurring at this time? To be honest, it seems like this was always the idea when you consider what is happening. This was discussed by Ripple in 2017, and now it's a reality. Digital currencies, stablecoins, and tokenized assets are all being widely adopted. This year has been one of the most significant for cryptocurrency to date, and guess what? This is only the start. Believe me, if you thought 2025 was a massive year with all of its big announcements and significant partnerships, it will only grow bigger from now on. Hey, do you recall BlackRock? In the third quarter, or was it the second? They provided us with an update. I may not recall the precise quarter, but I do recall that particular update. Well, in other words, they were essentially telling us, and we're referring to BlackRock CEO Larry Fink here, that tokenization is going to take off. Tokenization is the next big thing, they said. Isn't it exactly what they said? Additionally, BlackRock is still fully committed to tokenization and is always pushing the boundaries to see how far they can push it. Take a look at this recent CNBC update, which was posted by Nate Goralski. According to the CEO of the biggest asset management in the world, we are only just beginning the process of tokenizing all assets. ETFs are included. Yes, that's Larry Fink discussing his more favorable outlook on cryptocurrency. I grow and learn, he adds. A good lesson. However, some of you continue to believe that cryptocurrency is a fraud. You must pay great attention to this. I do think that the tokenization of all assets, including bonds, stocks, and real estate, is just getting started. That's excellent. There is capital at work. That's what you enjoy. At work, I adore capital. However, there are $4.1 trillion in digital wallets around the world. The majority of such money is located outside of the US. We might have people who are just starting to invest in markets through, say, cryptocurrency if we could tokenize or digitize an ETF. They're making investments in it, but we can now move them to long-term retirement solutions that are more conventional. As we begin to focus on moving away from traditional financial assets by relocating them in a digital way and then having people stay in that digital ecosystem, we see that as the next wave of opportunity for BlackRock over the next tens of years. They can have their cash, and we have the largest. These kinds of situations make you giggle, don't they? You see how the game is played, you learn, and you watch. And let's be honest, is anyone genuinely shocked by BlackRock's significant actions? They didn't discover cryptocurrency yesterday, after all. Hurry up. For years these men have been hiding in the shadows. Even when they said no, not for us, in public, they were undoubtedly pulling strings and playing a significant role in the overall strategy. Everything is taking place at the moment. This is accuracy, not anarchy. Everything is like perfectly aligned dominoes that are suddenly beginning to fall one after the other. And this is the most recent shocking revelation that demonstrates it. Their new announcement's most important lesson is that they are developing their own tokenization platform. Yes, you heard correctly. Everyone naturally began to stress out a little once they essentially came out and confirmed it, right? What does it mean for all public networks if a behemoth like BlackRock is creating its own private playground? That was the big issue. Are they no longer useful? It is the most important question, and we're undoubtedly going to start talking about it. Stay with me. Then, okay, this is something you must see. Eleanor Tourette recently published an article in which she quotes Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock. Get this now, because what he stated completely changes the game. The statement made by Larry Fink in his interview this morning that the next wave of opportunity for BlackRock is shifting away from traditional financial assets and toward digital ones caught my attention the most, he added. We can have people who are starting to invest in markets using, say, cryptocurrency if we can tokenize an ETF. Well, however, we can now introduce them to the more conventional long-term retirement plans. Thus we examine that. As we begin to move away from traditional financial assets by relocating them in a digital fashion and encouraging individuals to remain in that digital environment, this is BlackRock's next wave of opportunity over the coming tens of years. So, let's take a moment to process it. BlackRock is yelling from the rooftops, and what he's actually saying is, guess what? Their ultimate goal is to essentially get everyone on board with the cryptocurrency trend. Make the digital world the new monarch and lock people in, eradicating the traditional financial methods. Hold on though, I understand precisely what you're thinking. Well, alright, so this simply indicates that BlackRock is creating its own small universe. What a waste of public blockchains. Not so quickly, and I can prove it. This video was actually released by Subjective Views back in March. Robbie Mishnick lays it plain for everyone here.